This is episode 139, How to Run Your Own Race.
Welcome to Alive by Design. My name is Blake Mallon, and we're here to bring you inspiring people, principles, and practices to help you wake up, move toward your meant to, and feel fully alive. Open your mind and let's dive in. Hey guys, before you listen to the podcast, I just want to drop in and say I appreciate you for being here, and I'm super excited about this new Walk With Me series. These are solo episodes where I take some time in the middle of my morning run through the Santa Monica Mountains to share some inspired ideas and thoughts on my mind and heart. If you want to join me for any of these conversations live, you can catch me many mornings on my Facebook page, facebook.com/blakemallon.page. Would love to see you there. Love you guys. Enjoy the episode.
Walk with me. So I'm coming off a high from this past weekend. I'll warn you up front. I'm a little fired up for today's conversation. For those of you guys that follow on social, you saw this past weekend, my family and I competed in the Santa Barbara Triathlon. You heard that right, triathlon, little swim, little bike, little run. And it was just one of those amazing, fulfilling, totally draining, yet ultimately energizing at the exact same time type of weekends or experiences for many different reasons. On Saturday, I competed in what's called the long course. Creative title, I know. And the long course was comprised of a 1 mile swim in the ocean, waves and all, a 34-mile bike through the mountains, literally, like, I wouldn't even call these hills, like there were some climbs, the mountains of Santa Barbara, beautiful, breathtaking views, and then concluding with a 10-mile run along the ocean and coastline there in Santa Barbara. And if that sounds long, it is. It's a long triathlon, and the reason I feel so good, it's not the first triathlon I've done. I've competed in different tries, different lengths for, probably goes back, gonna age myself, maybe even 12, 14 years. But first one in a long time, and the longest one I've ever done in my entire life. And it was something that I knew going in was gonna be a challenge. It was something that I knew going in was not going to be easy. It wasn't like I showed up and knew with confidence that, I was going to crush it today. And truth be told, I've never ridden my bike for 34 miles ever. Like, never ridden that far in any training, let alone a race, let alone after a mile swim and before a 10-mile run. So it was the longest I've ever biked, and obviously the longest triathlon I'd ever completed, and was not easy. Had to push myself, had to challenge myself, and crossed the finish line on Saturday. And what a feeling. And yes, I'm still walking. I'm walking today. I'm good. I made it. And that was a high and a personal achievement and accomplishment and something I was proud of. But I gotta say, the next day, Sunday, topped it. Because Sunday was what's called the sprint course. In triathlon language, a sprint is a shorter course. Triathletes literally sprint it, right? They go fast. And it's also a great introductory length for really anybody that wants to get out there, have some fun, challenge yourself. And my family did it on Sunday. Karis ran it. She actually placed. She got third in her division, in her wave. Got the trophy and all, which was awesome. So proud of her. She was so excited. Her dad, my father-in-law, Tim, actually ran it. And that was a huge victory because get this, guys. He had a full hip replacement 5 months ago. 5 months ago. 5 months after a full hip replacement. Finished a triathlon, no pain. Amazing what we can do today. Karis's brother Jordan crushed it. It was just a fun family affair, but I gotta say the MVP of the weekend I have to give to my son. Grayson wanted to do the sprint with the family. So, sore, stiff, pain, blisters, and all. I got up on Sunday again and did the sprint with my son together, and was absolutely awesome. He put on the wetsuit, the goggles, the swim cap. We were the yellow wave, flew the whistle, 3, 2, 1, boom, running into the ocean. He did a 500-yard swim. If you're like, well, does he even know how to swim? It was how do you describe the stroke? It was probably a combination of a doggy paddle, few feet, frog swim, few feet, 2-3 strokes freestyle, grab my hand, catch his breath, repeat, doggy paddle, frog stroke, couple strokes freestyle, grab my hand, repeat. But he never stopped, actually, and never had to get on my back. I didn't have to swim him, and just helped him along the way. And just so proud watching him do that. We didn't even finish in the back part of our division. We finished in the middle. We actually beat like half the people we started with, which is crazy to think. I'm sure he was the youngest one out there. And ran in from the sand, did our transition. He hopped on his bike, did 6 miles, rolling together, talking together, having fun together. Side note, he's doing it on his little BMX bike. This thing has coaster brakes, right? Where you got to push backwards to stop. No gears, no gears, one speed. He's sitting there, feet going 1,000,000 miles a minute. And everybody we passed, everyone that we passed going the other way in the tri, all the spectators throughout the course, they're just cheering. I see this 6-year-old cranking on his bike with his number on, and everybody is like, woo, go, go, go. The energy, the entire 6 miles. He did all of it. And then ran in and hit transition and finished with a 2 mile run. 6-year-old. And finished the entire thing. Didn't complain. Had to push him a few times, had to keep him going in a positive way. But watching him literally just sprinting across the finish line doesn't even describe it. I don't even describe it. He's like a goat prancing and jumping, arms in the air, smile across his face, hearing his name over the loudspeaker. You guys can see the video I posted on Instagram and Facebook. It's worth a couple minutes. It'll give you a little joy moment for the day. And just a proud moment. Not a proud parent moment on my end, although it was, but just proud of my son and him finishing it, and just what he's learning by watching the example and wanting to put himself out there. Like, I could never imagine doing that at 6 years old. I don't know, if I was probably in my 20s or before I ever did a triathlon. And just an amazing experience. Kind of checks all the boxes when you're outside, near water, doing physical activity, hanging out with family and friends, pushing yourself, challenging yourself, growing, creating an experience, celebrating. Like, isn't that what life's all about? Isn't that the things that like make you feel alive? I know some of you guys are like, Blake, you're crazy. That sounds like horrible work. But if you think about it, those are all the things, guys, that make you feel like you're living. And the fulfillment, right? Afterward, it doesn't matter if you're an achiever mindset, like that accomplishment, right? That self-pride, it matters, no matter how old we are. And I wanted to share that story with you, and definitely watch the videos for some fun visuals, but more so I want to unpack that and share a couple thoughts, some lessons, 3 specifically on my mind just from the experience that apply not just to running a race, but we can apply to anything we're trying to accomplish in our journey right now. And stick with me, because I think you'll find this not only interesting, but applicable in many, many ways. I'm gonna sit down here and just share some principles that I think are relevant. Oh, yeah, I'm still a little sore, for sure. Energy flowing. I drank ketones all 4+ hours on Saturday. I mean, hey, the right attitude matters, but the right energy matters, right? Everywhere I go, 3 years straight. Better fuel, better energy, better life, flat out. So first principle, don't get stuck in your story. Don't get stuck in your story. You know, I remember the first time, quite a few years back, obviously I owned a platform that was known for challenges and challenging people and setting 90-day goals. And I would have people for years, talk about, hey, Blake, you should do a marathon. You should do a marathon. And my instant reaction would always be, no way, I'm not a runner, right? I'm not a runner. And for years, I would tell people and tell myself, like, I'm not a runner. Because looking back in my life, I was always an athlete. I always played sports, but I was a sprinter, right? I could run really fast for very short distances. I was always the kid in grade school that was, in first, second, third place for the 50-yard dash. I played baseball and I batted first as far back as I can remember, since I was probably 6 years old, all the way through high school baseball, because I could hit a ground ball and outrun it to first. Like, I was good at short distances, but when it came to like PE or, the tests where you had to run a mile, that was grueling. Why would you run, right? That sounds crazy. And I would tell myself over and over again that I'm not a runner. And then I realized one day when I was in the middle of giving that excuse to somebody that I was stuck in my story. And not only was I telling everybody else I wasn't a runner, what I was really doing is giving myself an out, giving myself an excuse. I was telling myself that I'm not a runner. What in the world does that even mean? What's a runner? A runner is someone who runs. Newsflash. We are Homo sapiens. We were given 2 legs. We walk erect. We have the physical capacity to run. We were literally built to do so. It's a matter of survival. We're all built to be runners. A runner is just someone that runs. And we all have that ability. You put one foot in front of the other. I don't care how tall you are, how short you are, how strong you are, how weak you are, how much muscle you have, how much muscle you don't have, what you do, what you don't do. Guess what? We can all run. And therefore, we can all be runners. So I'm not a runner is not real. I'm not a runner. It was just a story I was telling myself. And once I realized I had to change my story, and once I changed my story, well, a runner is someone that runs. Well, then I just started running. And ultimately ended up doing not one, I've done two marathons. But the reason I share that story is that mindset, it applies when I shifted to triathlons, right? I was always a swimmer in my mind. I played water polo 4 years in high school. I've been a strong swimmer because of really that training. I've surfed all my life. I love the water. I'm drawn to it. Running, I had to shift. I picked up that skill, right? Talking about the marathons, but then same thing on biking. I would tell myself, I'm not a cyclist. I've road biking. I've never done that. Was stuck in my story. Had to make a shift. Got a road bike. Started road biking. Something everybody can do. But I had to learn that. When it comes to triathlon, guys, cycling is it's the biggest percentage of the race. It's the most amount of miles. It's the most amount of time. And for me, it's the weakest of the 3. For most people, it's the strongest, right? But it's a difficult thing for me. And for me to cycle and then go into a run, like, that's a difficult thing. It starts with a mindset shift, not getting stuck in the story that you're telling yourself. You got to first shift your story, your internal narrative. You shift your story, then you're able to shift your actions. You shift your actions, you start to build a personal momentum and inertia, right? You start to grow, you start to get better. And eventually, as you start to take actions and you start to get better, you actually build the confidence that comes back. You guys, you shift your story first, then the activity, then the confidence. You don't wait for you to have confidence in order to take the action. And confidence comes after the action, not before, for most of us. So you got to start with shifting your story. Don't get stuck in your story. And that applies, guys, to, sure, athletics, sports, but applies to everything, everything. How many times in your life right now are you giving the world, i.e. yourself, literally a story of why not, why you can't, why it won't, why not now? Because all of those things start up here. And in order to make a change, you have to make the shift. Get out of your story. Don't get stuck in your story. You can all be a runner. You can all be a triathlon. I guess I can say I'm a triathlete. See, it still feels weird to say I'm a triathlete. I'm doing long course. I guess I'm a triathlete. Still feels weird. You got to shift the story. Right? Second thing that comes to my mind coming off this experience. The power of showing up. You guys, it all starts with just showing up. The power of just showing up. You guys, no joke, I was standing there at the starting line on Saturday with my wetsuit on and my swim cap on, and the energy's building. They're doing the countdown before the horn. You're sitting there loose. Adrenaline's up, out ready to sprint into the water. And I remember literally telling myself, I already won. I already won. I told myself, I'm getting chills just saying it again. I sat there at the starting line before the 4+ hours of grueling work, and I told myself I already won. And what I meant by that is I didn't mean like literally I was going to come in first place. I'm not delusional. But in my mind, I already won because I was there at the starting line at the crack of dawn sunrise Saturday morning. I was there. I showed up. I already won. Why? Because most people never show up. Most people are afraid to even make the commitment and do the work to even show up. And sure, that can be taken literally, a triathlon, because I'm not talking about a starting line of a triathlon. Most people never show up in the things that matter to them in their life. Most people never show up to the things that'll help them grow in their career or their business. They don't show up to the things that'll help them grow their mindset, right, or their perspective. They don't show up to meet the relationships and develop, right, the trust and put the time into the people that can help them advance. They don't show up. Most people don't show up. You realize one of the greatest differentiators between people that excel and people that don't, people that achieve and people that won't, people that are growing and people that are stuck? You want to know what the biggest things? Those that show up. You guys, that old cliche of, 50% of life is just showing up? I think it's a higher percentage. The majority is just showing up, because showing up puts you in the environment, in the space to create shift and create change. So you guys just work on showing up, even when you don't feel like it. Work on showing up even when you don't want to. Man, getting up at 5 a.m. on that Saturday and eating my bananas and drinking my water and doing my stretches, right? Guys, I didn't want to get up that early, but I did it. I showed up. Jumping in the ocean water at the crack of dawn, sun coming up, showing up. And not only making the commitment to show up, but giving yourself the acknowledgement and the praise, right? That just showing up, you already won. You're already ahead. You already did it. You guys, and that can be applied at the smallest of levels. Getting up in the morning, putting your running shoes on, getting dressed, and getting out the door for a walk. You showed up before you even clock your miles or your steps. You started. You showed up. You did it that day. Taking a passion project, an idea you have, and putting 20 minutes in the morning. Playing over us. You showed up. You took a step. You guys see, momentum is a funny thing. An object in motion stays in motion. An object at rest stays at rest. Someone smart said that a long time ago. And when you show up, you put something in motion, right? You start to create forward progress, and forward progress builds on itself. And progress and activity creates a result, which builds a confidence, which builds an inertia and a momentum. But all that starts with the power of showing up. And then the last thing, coming off the experience for the weekend, run your own race. Run your own race. You guys, I was sitting down there and watching everybody in the race, and when you're in a try, they write your age on the back of one of your legs, on your calf muscle. And it's always interesting because as you're going through the race, you're passing people and people are passing you, and you can see everybody's age on the back of their calf. And, I was sitting down there and I'm on the bike and I'm like, I'm passing somebody that's 27. I'm 41. Like, I'm passing somebody that's 34. I'm 41, right? And I passed plenty of people that were in their 20s and their 30s. And you know what? You know how many people passed me throughout that race? In the swim, in the bike, on the run. So many people, especially on the bike. I was coming down the last couple miles of the run at the very end, and my pace was pretty slow. My legs were shot. Jell-O, right? You've all eaten it. That's what I felt like. I mean, I was moving. I didn't stop, right? But I wouldn't say I was the fastest one out there. And a 67-year-old, I'm sure she was a grandma. I'm sure her grandkids were about to celebrate her at the starting line. Just trotted on past me in the final miles, and I just sat there and smiled. I cheered for her as she passed up. I didn't even try to catch her. 67-year-old grandma scooted on past me toward the finish line. I'm like, that's amazing. Because, guys, it wasn't about who I was ahead of or who I was behind of. It wasn't about anybody else out there for that day. I was happy for them because they showed up. They were running their own race. In my mind, it wasn't about them or their time. It was about me and accomplishing it. It was about me running my own race. You guys, too often we use other people as a measuring stick for our own fulfillment. We use other people as a measuring stick for our own self-worth. We use other people for a measuring stick for our own identity. And you guys, they're not even in the same race you're in. Right? The only race you have to worry about is yours, the path you're on, the journey you're on, the direction you're going. Because everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own stuff. Stop worrying about who you're competing with or who you're beating or who's beating you, and start only worrying about how are you going to do better today than you did yesterday? How are you going to do better tomorrow than you did today? How are we going to pursue better every single day, right? 1% better every single day. You guys, that's what running your own race means. Do the best that you can do. Be better than the you of yesterday. Run your own race. Yes, in a triathlon. Yes, in sports. But you guys, yes, in business. Yes, in relationships. Yes, in health. Run your own race. Because running your own race means doing all you can do, right? Doing all you can do. Doing the best that you can do. That you can do. Doesn't matter what everybody else can do. And then having faith, guys, that the rest is going to take care of itself, right? The world's going to work for you. That's what running your own race means. I'm well aware, guys, that out there, I'm not the tallest one, right? I'm not the strongest one. I'm the fastest one, right? I wasn't the best one. I was none of those things on Saturday. None of them. Yes, but it didn't matter. I was out there running my own race. It didn't matter. I was out there for my own fulfillment. It didn't matter. I was out there for my own growth. It didn't matter. I was out there to push myself. It didn't matter what I was compared to everybody else. What mattered is that I was out there for me and that I did it. You look at my son at 6 years old. Coaster brakes, no gears. Guys, it's amazing what's possible when we don't get stuck in our story. It's amazing what's possible when we just show up to the things that will help us move forward. And it's amazing what's possible when you just run your own race. Grayson couldn't care less who passed us, who was ahead of us, or who was behind us. He was just enjoying every single moment, every single pedal stroke, every single step. Running our own race, that's what we were out there for. In his mind, we got medals at the end. We were the winners of the whole thing that day. And you know what? In many regards, we were, regardless of the scoreboard or the stopwatch or the clock. So guys, that was an experience from this past weekend. And again, I'm not trying to inspire you to do a triathlon, but hey, you should. Go sign up for something. It's a blast. You all can do it. And if it's not a triathlon, find something that pushes you, something that challenges you, something that gets you outside, something that stretches your comfort zone. Go sign up and start working toward it, something that you can get excited about. And you guys, it's important to do that for our health and our vitality, but it's important to do that for all the big parts of our life. Do that in your business, right? In your entrepreneurial endeavors, in your career. What can you do to push yourself to the next level in your relationships, guys? And these principles will help along the way, and start to catch yourself when you get stuck in your story, right? Start to show up even when you don't feel like it. And when you find yourself comparing yourself against others, remind yourself, hey, just run my own race. Run my own race. One more view from the top. Beautiful day. Gonna get down. Until the next time we walk together, hope all of you guys have an inspired life. Hope all of you guys move in a direction. Hope all of you get out of your own way, and hope to be hearing some of your victories, right? Coming soon. Take care, everybody.
Hey guys, one last thing. I'm super excited that this new podcast, Alive by Design, just went live. You see, I designed the show to bring you inspired thoughts and fascinating conversations with the world's most impactful people, to provide transformative principles and practices to help you wake up, move toward your meant to, and feel fully alive. And I'd love for you to help me spread the word now. Simply subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on this platform right now. So if I've ever given you value, please do me this personal favor and go subscribe now. And if you found today's episode helpful in any way, make sure you share this with at least one friend today. You have the power right now to change someone's day. So send them a text message with a link to alivebydesign.com, or simply copy and paste the link right from this podcast platform. Who's one person you know right now that you want to see succeed, that you want to see grow, that you want to see feel more alive? Shoot them a text with your largest takeaway from today and be a light in their day. And if you were referred here by a friend, make sure you shoot them a text back and say thank you. I'd love to hear from you directly on what you got from today's podcast. So if you're up for it, drop by my Instagram @BlakeMallon and shoot me a DM. And as always, thank you for showing up. I'm grateful for you, and I hope our time together today in some small way helped you feel a little more alive. Until next time.